There we go. Forgot to remove the little cover thing on that. Okay. So, hello everybody. Hope you're doing good. On Sunday, we're going to keep working on Artemis today. Hopefully stay in flame, we'll see. I looked at the box art for her again, just to like compare, because I thought her cloak was green in the box art, but no, it just turns out her inner dress is. So I was thinking about the inner dress part a little bit more, because I realized that this part here is connected to this, and I don't think I want everything to be green. And this is like a leather thing that sits over it. So I think I'm going to try making the interior part purple, like a desaturated kind of purple. So we're going to work on that today. So we'll probably pop off her cloak in a second. The cloak is not done by any means. We still have a lot of touch-ups and texture and stuff to do to it, but it's good enough to like start figuring out the rest of the piece, I think. So let's start by decapitifying her. I don't know, deshouldering. Whatever. Let's also take time to see if we can get her seated in this a little bit better. So let's, for now, pin that like that. There we go. She was a little wiggly wobbly last session. Much better. Cool. All right. So let's paint some purple. I guess before that we can look at some stuff I worked at off stream. Didn't work on too much. There we go. So I just started gluing things down to the plinth instead of just holding them up and herming and hawing. I figured it's better to just get it on there and start getting things done. So these are two plastic art bits. I put like aluminum foil between them and a bunch of hot glue, and then put epoxy sculpt around the edge. So I think the next step is I'm going to do like a rough sanding, get everything trimmed out, put some more epoxy sculpting where it needs to go after that. And the one thing I did forget to do is I forgot to rough up the inside, so you can see that it separates a little bit because the plastic art is super smooth and it'll just kind of peel off of things. So the main thing I need to remember to do before I actually sculpt on this is rough it up so things adhere to it a little bit better. But it's not the end of the world. There's the big plastic art piece that's gluing these two bits together. Yeah, so everything should be fine structurally. And worst case, I can sand in the plastic art a bit more and then kind of loop the epoxy stuff around, which I may do anyways, because it'd be nice to have this black along the edge of everything, because we're going to paint the plinth black. So if the paint chips off on that over time, oops, there's a dog hair in there. Let's get that out. There we go. Like the paint chips over time or something, which probably shouldn't. I think I'll probably lacquer the sides and stuff before I get before it's all said and done. But yeah, regardless, if it chips, it'll just show black underneath, which is better than, I don't know, milliput colored. But yeah, so some progress. Feels hefty. It's way too tall as is. I just figured I'd leave that overshot, so I'll be sawing that off. This arch goes much higher than it's actually going to go. Again, just want to like fill in a lot of the volumes and sculpt in from there. So yeah, fun stuff. And I'm still figuring out Sarkay's base. I just put like some leftover putty in there from other things I was working on. I don't remember what was I using to have milliput. Was it something on that? I don't know. Oh, no, I'll show you what it was in a second. Yeah, I started looking at some reference photos because I was thinking like some sort of lava cliff. I was inspired by something that the Dark and Paint Forge guy did a while ago. So I was looking at some lava cliffs because I think that might be kind of a fun thing. So get some OSL from the lava going on. But the reason why I had those little milliput blobs, I forgot to show this at the end of last stream. Sorry for my fat head. So this is blue stuff. Blue stuff's a thermoplastic, so you just dunk this in some hot water and then it becomes malleable, so you can use it to make quick molds. So there was a Kingdom Death figure released in the last sale called the Screaming. Hey, Sammy. But there was a figure in the last Kingdom Death sale. Oops, wrong way. Called the Screaming God, male armor, and he had a cool shield, and I wanted to steal the face. So I made a couple casts of that face using milliput and the blue stuff, so you can see the face in that mold if it decides to focus on it. Yeah. So that's what I used for like all the stone faces on my core set bases. I think I said the words right in the right order. So anyways, let's do some painting. Nope, wrong way. There we go. Thanks. Okay, so we're gonna undo some of the work we did last time, but that's okay because I want to adjust the lighting on it anyways. I probably should have paid a little more attention to what I was doing, but whatever. So let's grab a few things. Yeah, just like thermoplastic. I think you can get it from like Daiso as well. I think that's the green stuff world one because I just picked it up with some other stuff a while ago. But yeah. How's everybody doing? We had a chill night. Went to the local Vietnamese place. I got fried rice. I was hungry, so I got pork and tofu instead of just pork. And the tofu was really good. And then we just watched a bunch of Jujutsu Kaisen, which is very good so far. It's very shonen. I feel like it's not doing like too much new, but it's just doing it well, so it's fun. Okay, there we go. We got all that sorted, I think. Actually, let's try something. Let's get out. Oops. Let's try our best to not screw this tube up. Oh dear. There we go. Okay. Mission accomplished. One of these days, one of those tubes is going to rip and it's going to suck, but today's not that day. Okay, everything's zoomed in. Cool. I think we need to angle up slightly though. Come on. There we go. Whoop. And immediately angle down. Come on. You got it. There we go. Is that better? Okay. we'll see how this works camera-wise. Except I have the keyboard in the way. All right. So I guess we'll just start by going over the stuff we did before. And I think we angled the camera up too much. Yep. So let's fix that. Okay. Maybe too far down. We'll see. Because I'm holding it up closer to my face. Yeah. So some people have started getting their Marvel United X-Men stuff and posting just the giant piles of boxes. I didn't go all in on it, but I did get like all the Kickstarter 1 stuff in it, so I'm slightly concerned. But we'll see. We'll see how it goes. I have not gotten my tracking for that yet. Yeah. But as I said before, I think on stream, everyone's got to make like that mistake with the CMON Kickstarter once, right? And I figure a bunch of Marvel chibies to paint for fun every now and then, not the worst thing. Well, I guess I'll say every now and then until I die, probably. And worst case, I can always sell some stuff off. So yeah, I get that. Like the Aquilera models one, I ended up backing just because I don't know, I want to support the artist. I like David Aroba a lot, but I only ended up picking up one miniature. I picked up one of their old ones too, the Revenant bust, because it looked like it would be nice for practicing skin tones and such. And I had like a slight discount in the pledge manager. I haven't backed any Zombicide ones. The Marvel one didn't grab me. I was like, I have the chibis, and if I want like real Marvel figures, I'll get into my Marvel Crisis Protocol instead. But yeah, the Chimera one that's coming up is going to be bad. And by bad, I mean lots of good minis, but bad in the wallet sense, probably. And there's two that have officially been shown that I like a lot in that Kickstarter. And then Swinson on his Discord has been posting whips of one that he's working on for it. And I like it a lot. It's very good. Both the paint job and the model. It's like Galahad from Echoes of Camelot, but maybe even cooler. Yeah, he posted it not too long ago in the, I don't remember which channel. It's either in Current Works or General Chat. Let's just cover everything up, I guess. Come on, paint, stop being stupid, please. Thanks. Yeah. They don't always post everything in there. Just something whenever I'm happy with something. Because I know lots of people like are in the same Discord, so I try not to spam finished projects in every single one that I'm in. That's just personal preference, but I almost forgot about the part that the reason why we're painting over this is purple. That stuff up there, so I'll go back up there in a second. Oops, be better if we're on camera, huh? camera. Usually so good. There we go. It's just because I'm not centered for whatever reason. Okay. Oh, the green underneath the purple is really not helping, huh? We'll see if we can get this to look good. Oops. Goofed up the brush a little bit, that's fine. We're about to go very bright for a little bit, and then we'll tone it back down. If it'll focus. Come on, there you go. Let's do that. little freehand. What are you freehanding? That's not going well. Salmon with fan. Okay, like a kind of traditional like Chinese or Japanese big old fan kind of thing. Yeah. Let's take a second. I'm gonna try a different purple and see if it gives me less trouble. For getting things to the purple area. That's quite a vibrant, bright purple. Let's. There we go. I have no idea what I'm doing right now. I just want this to not be green and muddy anymore, so let's just put a crap ton of purple on it. More impressionist, yeah. Yeah, I mean, I'm no expert at freehand. Like the chef that we did a little while ago is probably like the most that I've done. And it's just kind of sketch out your ideas in a color that's similar to the one that you're painting over. Because then it's easy to correct your mistakes. And then sounds like then kind of you can go in and refine with the actual colors that you want, and try to do. I think it's very similar to like drawing, where like if you're drawing like a figure or something like that, and hey drummer, yeah, I think I saw some Cobra mode models. Someone was painting them recently. They're pretty cool. It sounds like I don't know what it sounds like. Let's do a brush. I don't know where that train of thought was going. It just died. Or yeah, when you're drawing like figures or something, you want to like use your whole arm, right? To get the smooth lines, you don't want to go little sketchy things. You want to pivot kind of at the elbow. And you can try to kind of maybe do a similar thing with miniatures. Or the other way is just kind of build things out, like start in the center where you are and kind of work your way out very gradually, right? And pleated surfaces. Yeah, like that's definitely a struggle. Okay. Yay, things are starting to look purple now. The new Chimera set, the expansion set, purple just, no, coverage was not doing what it should. We'll probably switch back to it in a little bit though, but this is just a mixture of the AK deep purple and violet from Chimera. Yeah. I think the other huge thing, not just for freehand, but like especially freehand, but just miniature painting in general, is use reference, right? Like exactly what we did on the chef, right? We took some time to look at some different diner logo things for inspiration. Like I'm sure eventually once you do enough freehand, you can kind of just pull things out of your imagination, but always good to look stuff up, pull from the real world to help make your things look a little better, make the process a little bit easier. Hey Mini Scribbler, how are you? We just painted over some green, her cloak's green, and then I realized that the lower part of her dress is not part of her cloak because I'm a dummy. So we're painting it purple, because why not? Going Joker mode, as the kids say these days. Right? Right. Waking up? I don't know where you would be that you're just waking up. Unless you stayed up very late. I guess maybe Hawaii? Or somewhere in the Pacific? Oh, Australia. Okay. Oh, yeah. Yeah, right. Duh. I always think Australia is like farther behind on the clock than it actually is. Yeah. And unfortunately, the only thing with getting better at freehand is just you have to do it, right? Just like everything in arts and mini painting and stuff. And I think, especially with freehand, kind of like what we're going through right now, is you can get kind of stuck in the quote unquote ass phase of the miniature. And think that everything's terrible and all hope is lost, but really you kind of just need to keep working at it. I also find, like especially on that chef bust, it's good to kind of do additive and subtractive, like be prepared to kind of wiggle things back into what they were, so have whatever your background color was also sitting on your palette Yeah, Figon is great. Do I have Figopedia over here? Yeah, so Figon has this book, which I highly recommend picking up. It's also filled, there's going to be some... Okay, well, I will once again... I'm trying to find this model. I emailed him and he never responded. It says Reaper Miniatures, but it's not a Reaper miniature. Reaper doesn't make anything that good looking. I know they make some 54 mils, but yeah, this is a great book. I think it's like very condensed, like it's not too wordy. Good for, I don't know, up in your mini painting game. That makes you think about light and color in some ways that you may not have thought of before. Oh, Rocco, he's in here. The one that Sergio was working on a little while ago. Or still working on? I don't know if he's finished it yet. That might have been Rocco's butt. Yeah, there's Rocco's butt. The full figure's in here somewhere. There he is. That's Rocco, I'm pretty sure. Yes, it says Rocco on the bottom there. Yeah, I was tempted to pick it up when I saw Sergio working on it too. Sergio's version looks... Like, this version's not bad, but it's definitely kind of dated. Sergio's looks really nice. Oops, wrong way. But yeah, if you're in North America, or the States specifically, and you like some of those like kind of older style miniatures, hey Keegan, how are you doing? Noble Knight started carrying some Figon stuff. They don't have Figopedia in stock, which sucks, but they got a bunch of their minis and such. But also, it's worth checking out Figon's website. The shipping's not too bad to the States. It's like €10, something like that. The only thing is, like, it takes 3 weeks and you don't get any information about it. Noble Knight. Noble Knight actually started carrying... they started carrying Big Child a little while ago. They also carry Chimera, sort of, but it's mostly out of stock right now. They have... they now have Pedro Fernandez Works. Like a decent selection of it. They have Figon. They had someone else new yesterday. They have some Nuts Planet stuff. I think that's mostly it. Yeah, Noble Knight's great. They have good deals and stuff. They had I've mostly found them because I was looking for the Skybore miniatures, stone faces for my KDM stuff, and they have all that stuff. And that's why I was looking at them yesterday, because I was looking for some stuff for the little diorama thing that I'm working on. Thanks. Yeah, we changed this lower part from green to purple. It might be too much. I don't know. I kind of like it. I don't know. Gotta be brave. Yeah. If I lived in Australia, Stone Beer would be great. I love their stuff. But yeah, I was before I got on the Noble Knight tangent. If you haven't looked at Figon's website, Figone, the one that Mini Scribbler typed in earlier, I do highly recommend checking it out. If you don't have Figopedia yet, it's a great book. And they carry a lot of different figures from a lot of different manufacturers, and some of them aren't available elsewhere anymore. So example, I snagged. Yeah, we haven't looked at minis in a while, right? Because I haven't been ordering any that haven't been shipped yet. Yeah, there's two versions of Rocco. There's one with a big pillar or big thing, and there's one with like a little thing. Oh, it's raining. Lovely. Oh, I can talk more about rain in a second. So many tangents today. But yeah, this figure from Black Crow Miniatures, they had sitting there, and it's been out of print for a long time. And I'm from the Southwest, so I'm very much love the Southwest aesthetic. One of my favorite painters is, you can kind of see it, Mark Maggiore. He's an Italian dude who moved to the American Southwest and just paints cowboys and such. Love it. So yeah, they had this. They had, I think she's easily accessible. Yeah. They had her from Hera Rudik, Lady Sibylla, who you can get a 75mm figure from them now. And I don't know if it's easily accessible. Let's see if I can find it. Oh no. Is that it? No. I wanna grab it though. Where's my boy? Nope, not that file. There it is, I think. Okay. We got it, guys. Yes. Okay. Disaster struck. They had some Ares mythologic figures, the little 54mm guys that I've been toying with for a while. But they have the Barbarian King from Joaquin Palacios. I love this figure. It's so good. The one thing I'll say is they often list things that they don't actually have in stock, so I usually send them an email before I place an order. I placed 2 orders with them now, I think. Takes about 3 weeks to get it to the States. No idea how long it would take to get to Australia. But yeah. Oh, jeez, that sucks. Have you sent them an email to see like what the heck's going on? And Drumner, I think so. Like, so I've talked about like improving and stuff a little bit. Like, I started, I think a lot of ways people start these days, which is you find YouTube channel, Miniac. I would try maybe reaching out to them on a social rather than an email and see if that works. Like maybe you just hit up their Instagram or something. I found that like with like Robot Rocket and such, sometimes their emails are just a void and they just like don't see messages there. So maybe it's the same thing with Carol Rudik. Because like I'll when I was waiting on something from Robot Rocket, I sent them a Facebook message and be like, hey, I sent you an email. And they're like, oh, it's going to my spam or something like that. It's like, okay. Because they respond to me like instantly on Facebook. One of the only reasons why I still have Facebook. But back to learning materials and getting better. Yeah, so I started a way that a lot of people these days do. Find YouTube channels, Miniac, all that stuff. Branch from there to like Vince Venturella, who I think is a really good teacher, and he has really detailed videos on if you want to like learn how to paint X. I think those are like really good for getting started, like all the free content that's available there. I know, and a lot of people have talked about like how miniature painters have gotten a lot better. Like the miniature painting as an art form has gotten a lot better in the last couple of years, and I think a lot of that is just because of all the free information available on YouTube and such now. But yeah, the time length on the STLs is weird. I don't have much experience with STLs in general because I don't have a 3D printer. But I know some Patreons and such, like you have a limited time to like add them to your library because they swap things out on the monthly. But from a Kickstarter, that seems kind of weird. But anyways, I don't know if I've heard of those. I'll have to check them out. I think Marco Frizzoni is really good as well on YouTube. But yeah, I think YouTube's a really good place to start. Like, there's lots of good like fundamental videos, and it's nice to see like people actually do the thing. I think that's like for learning how to glaze and those kinds of things, it's easier to learn from video or someone showing it to you in person than it is to learn from a book. But I think there's like a cap, I think, kind of on the free YouTube content, like how much you can get out of it. And I think once you hit that cap, some good things to pick up are some books. So I could talk about some books real quickly that I think are good, because I actually have all three here because I've been looking at them quite a bit lately. So it's the aforementioned Figopedia. So this is kind of really good for understanding color and especially light in terms of miniatures, and like how to use both to your advantage. And like specifically for miniatures. So like he has a bunch of examples. His painting style, I think, is a little bit more classical, I guess, in terms of miniature painting. But the lessons that he goes over still apply very much to today, and super helpful resource. I'll talk about one more before we talk about this big boy. Color and Light by James Gurney. This is not specifically for miniature painters. This is for... Oh, I think it's just it focusing. Okay, whatever. It's just for painting in general, but again, useful resource for understanding how light interacts with things, and how to use color and light to your advantage. I think there's some things in here that won't really apply to miniature painting because they'll be like talking about like oils and watercolors and those kinds of things. But overall, nice book. He also has a YouTube channel, James Gurney. That's fun to watch. He does like little gouache and watercolor sketches and kind of talks about how he does different things. Oh yeah, okay, yeah, I know who you're talking about for not original minis. Atomi's great. Love their stuff. And then there's this big boy. It's the most expensive of the three that I've shown so far, but it's also a thick boy. This kind of teaches you everything from getting started and all the materials to how to paint. Can I flip to the page? Yeah, how to paint non-metallic metal steel like Kirill. Sorry, it's a little bit overexposed. Let's fix that. Boop. 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 Yeah. Keegan, who's in the chat, in and out, is using... I was just looking at it yesterday because I was pulling it up. Wait, okay. I'm just gonna talk about this page for a second before we go to the other page. He was... Okay. This relates to the freehand talk earlier, but it's just a flat circle, and he does all of that. Yeah. This is also just like a good art book to have on your table. Where was it? Oh, here it is. Yeah, Keegan is using this page to figure out some lighting on a cool Bloodborne figure. So yeah, this one's pricey. But yeah, like there's 100 pages on how to paint non-metallic metal. It's really good. And I'll give my normal disclaimer. It is published by AK. AK has done some stupid things in the past. I mean, I get over it by like I'll buy their stuff through local or family local game store kind of thing. So I get my paints from a local game store as I throw it across the room. And this one I got from Last Cavalry, which is a US-based distributor. So I always like to give that disclaimer because I know some people aren't a fan of AK, and that's understandable. So there's two pieces of freehand in that book. I won't grab it so we can get back to painting. there's that shield, which is wild, and then there's the pirate's coat. So if you look up Kirill Keneyev, pirate, I think, you'll find a bust that he did holding the wheel of a ship, and the coat has this intricate pattern on it, and he freehanded all of that. Did you get the scale color one, or did you get the MIG one? Because I've been looking at the MIG one, because MIG and Big Child have a couple of encyclopedias. They have the Painting Fantasy Figure one that's supposed to be good. They also have like this 5-volume encyclopedia thing that looks kind of interesting too. I've heard good things about it. But yeah, so I think books are a really good resource because you can kind of just take your time and look at it. Like, you don't have to constantly pause a video, rewind, and all that kind of stuff. And sometimes it's just nice to read something. Oh, I don't know why. Oh, it's unhappy with your message because you said NIG. I'll allow it though. It's okay. Automod was unhappy with that. Understandable, but oh yeah, lots of good books. And then also Patreons, I think, are also useful. Like, they have video content and PDFs and such that you won't find on YouTube for free. Craftworld Studio is very good. Again, kind of gets you thinking about color and like, especially color and like how acrylic paints work in a way that you might not have thought of before. So I always like to recommend them. And then relating back to what we were talking about with Mini Scribbler earlier, Sergio's Patreon is great. He's also started putting some videos on YouTube for free, but he has really in-depth PDFs on his Patreon, which is what I like. I like PDFs from Patreon more than I like videos, because I kind of like to just sit and read rather than watch, because I can just kind of go at my own pace. The only form of learning for miniature painting that I haven't done yet that I would like to do is take an in-person class or do some sort of online tutoring. I know there's a couple options in my area. We talked about Matt De Pietro a little while ago. He's a very good painter up here in the Pacific Northwest. Yeah, I know Swinson may come out here at some point because he does stuff for P3 a lot, and they're located here. Yeah, I think we're just gonna paint this purple for now. And if we change our mind, then we change our mind. Okay. Yeah, it's Ammo by MIG. Yeah, the other reason why I'm interested in those books is they're an easy way to help yourself get to the free shipping on Big Child Creatives. So I've just kind of been holding off and buying them until there's some minis that I want from them, because their shipping is crazy. It's like 40 plus euros or something. Oh, yeah, speaking of rain, because it's raining. Yesterday we had a freak hailstorm. There's some good pictures of it floating around online, but it looks like someone just like dumped a bucket of ice over Seattle. From the outside, like people in West Seattle took some pictures of downtown, and it looks pretty wild. It was right when Anna was heading over. She's like, "Oh, I was just sprinkling a little bit. I think I can walk through this." And then I was like, "It's hailing here." And then she's like, "Oh yeah, it started hailing here right when I was about to head out." So I had to go pick her up. And it looked like it had snowed. Basically, that's how much hail there was on the ground. It was wild. But it seemed very isolated to just like downtown area. Yeah, I've heard good things about the Scale 75 one. I know they just had their gamer encyclopedia as well. I thought that was a little silly, but if people find it useful, that's good. So now we're doing our same old. Now that we got like a nice purple. I should stop things back up a little bit. Because they just stopped the way down. There we go. There we go. Okay. We were getting rid of all the desaturation from going over the green with the purple. So now I have this nice saturated purple base. So now I'm kind of pushing up these highlights again way past where we probably want them, because we'll go over everything with the airbrush as per usual. And I guess, another good resource that's not on, if you have started with YouTube and you're like, maybe I want to try reading some things, but I don't want to pay for it just yet, Massive Voodoo is a really good resource. It's their website that's run by Roman the Pot and a few other painters. Really good resources for like understanding color, light, all that good stuff, and it's all free. I would also highly suggest checking out his stuff on basing. He has a whole tutorial section on basing, and he also has really nice step-by-step. There's a whole section under the tutorials thing on that website called Step-by-Step or SBS. That it's him walking through some of his bigger pieces. Like there's one for Last Light, which is one of his more famous pieces. And it's like the whole process of him kind of going through it. It's wild. And if you're like, oh, I love these are great, I want more insight from Roman, he started selling PDFs on Etsy that go even more in depth. So I picked up a couple of his basing ones from there, and they're pretty good. And if if you want even more basing content, Oliver Spaeth has started up his Patreon again. And it's a very good resource for learning how to do cool bases. Let's push these highlights up even more, so let's get some white. So they tried to launch a book a little while ago about making dioramas, about war crimes. And the way that, like, it's a sensitive subject matter to begin with that maybe, like, you could argue either way, like, is this a good idea to make a product about this? But the way they went about marketing it was definitely the wrong way to market it. Because they use like actual footage of horrific things and they're like all edgy and stuff, and they're like, we're gonna make miniature painting art and all that stuff by pushing into these dark things. And so there's a lot of backlash against it, obviously, because it's not great. And then they handled it incorrectly by being like, oh, we're sorry that you're offended, rather than we fucked up. So they eventually did get to an actual apology of like, hey, both our apology and this was not okay, and we're sorry about that, we won't do it again. But yeah, that's why a lot of people don't like AK. I don't think they ever actually released that book. Like, it's not the FAQ book, to clarify. Like, the FAQ book is not that. This is separate. Um, but yeah, they were gonna release a book specifically about making dioramas of like, oh, they did? Okay, well, because they're also gonna release miniatures, and I don't know if they released those, but okay, yeah, it was not great. um, Similar to like Scale 75 has also done some dumb things, so I'm just hoping Vallejo just doesn't do anything dumb. Their quality control's not good. That's interesting. Um, I know they also have like some other products that are kind of like like their paint stripper thing has like a stripper on it. It's like, okay, are you a child or something? Come on. But like, just be aware of like what companies do and like decide like if you're okay with buying from them. Like, I don't think people should be judged either way because like they do make good products mostly unless they're QC thing. Oh, great. I mean, I have a pot of drinking grind, but it's old, so hopefully it's okay. Yeah, the QC on hobby products has been not great recently in general. And I guess like not art products because brushes have been rough. Hey, Thousand Young, how are you doing? How'd that kaiju that you were working on the last couple times turn out? Or are you still chipping away at it? Okay, that's fun. Well, I don't use it terribly often. I think I use it on my gunpla thing. Nice. Yeah, excited to see what that looks like when you're all wrapped up, Thousand. Yeah, it's interesting stuff. I believe tomorrow my new paint module gets here, so I won't have to keep reaching for those paints in that shelf thing. They'll be in a drawer over here. It'll be great. And I'll have enough room for whatever paints Chimera releases during their Kickstarter. I don't have problems. I think we're almost to airbrush time. I think this part of the reason why I was okay with repainting it is I was not happy with some of the lights on stuff, especially this area. So Um, no. If you mean for like bases or anything like that, I mean, since last sculpting stream, I did some more rocks. Woohoo. Um, so like this part came with the miniature and then sculpted the rocks on the plinth. They're fine. They'll be okay. But we got this thing. We looked at it at the beginning of the stream, but I don't think many people were here, so it's okay to look at it now. So I just kind of put down some mass. Yesterday I filled this in and glued this down because I kept hemming and hawing over it, and I was like, we just need to get this ball rolling. So this is going to be a kind of like a medieval manor sort of thing. We're going to see how much gets sculpted and how much is Juwila stuff. But I imagine I'm at least going to sculpt like an arch around a door and maybe some sort of pillar things. So I showed these off a little earlier, but so these are the Screaming God male. Here we go. Now you can see that's better than adjusting the stuff. These are the Screaming God male shield from Kingdom Death. I made casts with, or I made a mold with blue stuff and then put some milliput in there. So I'm thinking about using these as like little details for things because I was looking at some things and they have cool faces and creepy things. But yeah, so if you haven't seen what this project is, I can at least put one figure because I've drilled his holes in it. But there's going to be 3 other figures on this base. I have no idea what the doorway competition is, so no, I guess not. But yeah, this is the Black Knight from Kingdom Death. I have 2 of his squires and Percival as well, and this is a commission thing. Yeah, Kingdom Death has some really cool models. I was almost in trouble. I think I told this story a little while ago, but we can talk about it in context of the model with it here. So he was pretty much all put together. I still haven't glued in the sword because I want to keep that separate because I'll make it easier to paint stuff. But these little ears are separate pieces. I had 3 of them glued in and 1 left still on the sprue because I was cutting 1 off at a time because they're small. I was like, I don't want to lose it. And then of course, because I spilled my CA accelerant everywhere because I was dumb and I didn't do the thing I normally do, which is put sticky tack on the bottom so I can't knock it over. So it flooded everywhere. I was like, oh no, I have to wipe this up before I die from fumes or whatever. So wiped it up with some paper towels, ran over to the trash can in the kitchen, threw it out, came back. I was like, oh no. The little sprue with the last ear on it is gone. So I spent an hour looking for it. I looked over all the floors, I looked under all my boxes and things, under all my furniture in my bedroom, looked all over my kitchen, didn't find it anywhere, gave up looking for it. Got some green stuff out and tried to start sculpting it. Nah, I'm not that good at sculpting it to get this tiny little thing. It's got like little feet impressions and such. It's like, no. Gave up on sculpting. I was like, okay, well, maybe I can find another one of these models or something. And it's like, I'll put out like an eBay thing. Because like, it's not my model. I need to like find this part and replace it. Then I went to go get like actual cleaning stuff to kind of clean up my desk, and right next to my bottle of cleaning supply was the little sprue. So I sat down and laughed for a second and then glued it to the model and threw away the sprue. Good times. But yeah. So this is just plastic card, some cork, and then this is epoxy sculpt. And then inside there's a bunch of aluminum foil. Yeah, I did find it. Thank God. Yeah, I was very happy. I almost like caved and was like, oh, I know they saw recasts of this model, but I don't want to buy a recast. That's terrible. But yeah, so this project's gonna take a while. Don't expect it to be done anytime soon. But yeah. That back there. I told the guy who commissioned it it's gonna be a hot second before it's all done. And he's like, that's fine. Take your time. Cool. So back to it's gonna Jan Ween Vision, who's also streaming. He was streaming earlier today. Worked on the Black Knight a little while ago, and he did a cool diorama. I'll grab it. Well, while we're chit chatting, why not? So these are the other two models, or other three models rather. I just grabbed two things. So these two squires. So I'm gonna have him kind of like up next to the Black Knight, chasing after him. These two are gonna be standing on either side of the door. Is the current plan. Yeah, Jan's Black Knight is awesome. Yeah, dropping pieces is the absolute worst. Yeah, my issue is just like I instinctively just kind of wiped towards me and wasn't paying attention to what I was doing because the sprue was sitting like here basically. Yeah, but we're good. Everything's fine. No recasts. It's great. It's great. But yeah. It's finished by, yeah. I don't know if I'm going to finish that project by the end of April. I haven't even started painting. Waiting on some basing stuff to get here from Europe. So it gonna be a bit. Let's do some pushing. Smooth this out. Was tuckered out on the couch last I saw. Played a lot with Ez yesterday and this morning, so that was nice. Speaking of Kingdom Death, there might be a sale in a week or so. Easter's coming up, and they usually have an Easter sale. And they're talking about doing pre-orders for the expansions, like the Wave 2 stuff, so like Sunstalker, Flower Knight. I know a lot of mini painters like Flower Knight for painting. It's a good chance to pick it up. Yeah. I'm expecting, some stuff from a Juwila shop in Europe because none of the American ones had the stuff that I wanted. I did find an Australian one that had most of what I wanted and probably should have ordered from them because it would have been cheaper, but oh well. And I'm expecting to bus run Ivan Metasculptor, his new one, and the Connor one. There was BNA Model World is an Australian shop that has a bunch of stuff, and shipping from Australia to the US is pretty cheap. It's just the other way around is not cheap, apparently. And then the Europe, the Aus dollar is weak compared to the American, so the euro is generally stronger than the US dollar. So Gold Smoke Knight's in the core, so he's a little harder to get because you need to get the whole core. Apparently, you can buy replacement models though, and someone quoted the Gold Smoke Knight was $25 to get as a replacement model, but I don't know how that works. So you can maybe try contacting support and be like, "Hey, I got a core and Gold Smoke Knight's missing, or I screwed him up. Can I buy a new one?" And see what happens. Don't tell anyone that I said that idea. But yeah, Dung Beetle Knight, Flower Knight, those are all expansions, so you should be able to grab those in the pre-order. And since they're not doing any dev work on the expansions, it should fulfill relatively quickly. Like it'll be the manufacturing and shipment turnaround, so it'll probably be a few months rather than a few years, decades. Oh, that's why. Forgot to turn my compressor on again. Maybe I'll look at new compressors after this. We'll see. The only thing is, if I want a quieter compressor, it's like $600 or something, and I don't want to spend that right now. Order the Kingdom Death Core. Oh, yeah. If I have all those expansion models except for the green knight armor because I didn't care for that. So if you want to see what any of them look like, I can dig them out. I haven't put them together yet. I'm waiting until Gambler's Chest is sent to print before I burn through my remaining monsters to paint because I want to make sure I always have like a monster to paint because they're fun. But we'll probably paint some of those expansions at least later this year. Okay. Get in there. Okay, let's see how these look together, or if we're too Joker. That looks okay. I think we'll go back in with some highlight color on the purple, and we'll probably desaturate it ever so slightly, similar to the green. I'm liking it. I think when the skin's in there too, it'll, and also this leather part. I'm always hesitant to do purple and green just because like Barney or Joker, that kind of stuff. But sometimes you just gotta scratch that itch, right? Right. Let's get this Black's all cleaned out. You can see that it is 45 and raining, and I'm doing terrible on my rings today. Like I'm very happy with using it with all this stuff. Makes life easier. Okay, let's grab you as well. We're just grabbing all the paints. We already have that out. I want the, not you, you. Okay. Why not? Okay. Let's. We're gonna start with the chimeras. Let's get some magenta. And yeah, I guess it'll be easier having her whole being on here. The spots didn't get primer, but I'm pretty sure you can't really see those once the cape is actually glued in, so that's okay. Okay, your little feet are exposed. So let's not forget to paint those. I guess all of that is foot. Yeah. And working our way up. I guess she's got gloves. But I believe that's her elbow. It certainly is now. Ah, got it. Okay, so that's all skin. Okay, figuring out what's what. It's great. It's great. I always miss something and realize it when I'm working on something else. So I try to take a little more care on each subsequent model, because I don't like having to go back usually, especially after airbrushing or blending. It's fine. It's okay to be a little messy. So yes, this is very, very magenta-y, but as we kind of glaze over everything and layer over it and all that good stuff, it'll chill out. Okay. We're just gonna cover all this up for now. Oops, let's not forget our thumb. So with this layer, I'm going over everything rather than just kind of the next step, just so these subsequent layers have something nice and saturated under them. I don't know. Well, because remember, acrylics are pretty transparent in general. They'll show what's underneath them. So just make sure instead of showing the yellowish white, mostly white or gray, we've got a nice orangey reddish color showing through. We will also definitely be switching to a smaller brush when we get to the face for real. We also need to pop out the glove and just kind of hold the cape / headpiece separate to get in there a little bit better. Let's get this in the shadow of his ear. Okay. Now we have a very orangey, pinky elf lady. Just mixing a little bit more skin tone, a tiny bit of this kind of limeish green. What is it called? Yellow green. For our next layer up. These transitions are probably a little too rough for just airbrush blending, so if my brush will behave, let's create a step. somebody else going live. So something I think Dana was talking about a few streams ago was on highlighting skin. I thought was pretty interesting, which is oftentimes people go too bright with the highlighting of the skin, like way too close to white, and that's why I can often lose saturation. So we're gonna try to keep that in mind as we're working on the skin here. Too much water on the brush, there we go. Not entirely sure what to do for her hair color yet. Yeah, that was definitely an eye-opener for me. I mean, like on here, I think like here we'll talk about it briefly. Like Lynn got toned down quite a bit because I do that. Because if you do like the if you do like an overall glaze of everything, you want to go brighter, and then it gets toned back down. So I think not going back up is the thing to keep in mind. I don't know. Yeah, it was definitely an eye-opener because like oftentimes I kept thinking my stuff was like too dark skin-wise, but maybe my shadows just weren't deep enough or something like that, or like my skin was lacking contrast and I thought I needed to push closer to whites, I guess is the way to think about it. Thanks. I think the camera helps a little bit. I definitely, or like, I think they look nice out of light, but like in person under this light, I see like so many issues. I do think that, I don't know. I think this is maybe my silkiest, smoothiest one right now. That's out. She's very dusty though. But, Winter Solstice Lucy. I was quite happy with how she turned out for the last project from last year. Her base is garbage, but otherwise, she was fun to paint. I did her in like a day because I was like, I need to finish her. But yeah, airbrush helps a lot. Thanks, Thousand. Trying to constantly improve and push myself. The goal is to someday place in some sort of competition. I think that'd be cool. But we'll see. I think I have a ways to go before that. Wacom. Thanks, Hurricane Hans. It was being a little iffy earlier, so I upgraded my camera a little while ago, and I also upgraded my computer because I was using my phone before, and it was okay. This is the Canon EOS M6 Mark II, and I've got my I used to take pictures. Or I still take pictures, but like photography was like my primary hobby before miniature painting. So I've had this bad boy for since it came out. So it's like over a decade old now, but it's still chugging along. So I had some good glass laying around. I got my 5D here. I'll show my other baby real quickly. fix them with some putty so in case there's an earthquake they don't fall. This is my... I'm not seeing any dropped frames. If anyone else is seeing dropped frames, let me know. Looks like my bitrate is mostly staying at 4500. Hey Crypt. Okay, cool. That's good to know. I'll look up. Do you have a link to the doorway comp, Drumner? I'm not gonna finish that one. I have some other doorway ideas though. But yeah, Leica is a German camera manufacturer. This is a rangefinder, so I don't think you can see through there. But when you look through there, there's on this side of the camera, there's a prism, and instead of focusing through the lens like you do on SLRs, this isn't looking through the lens. This is just looking straight out. And yeah, so when I interned and made too much money as an intern, so I bought a Leica, and I eventually traded that one in and got this one. So this is the M10. It's my baby. I generally buy used. The way to go with Leica is buy it used because everyone treats their Leicas really nicely, and they like never lose their value once they're used. Yeah, tech interns get paid well, generally. But yeah, so it's a rangefinder camera. It's a little dusty because I've not been going out and taking photos because I ran out of things to take pictures of around town. Awesome. Yeah, let me open that up so I don't lose it. But yeah, so there's a little box in the middle of this viewfinder, and you overlap those two things to focus, basically, is how it works. The nice thing is you can see outside of the lens, so you can see like what's coming into frame and what's going out, and yada yada yada. So I will say, don't buy a Leica unless you want a Leica. I think there's better cameras for the money out there. If I were getting into photography today, I'd probably either still buy Canon, or I'd buy a Sony A7 or something like that. But like, if you want a Leica, there's nothing else like Leica. So yeah, so Sony's cameras are pretty good. So if you want to do video, I'm just a Canon guy, so. Yeah, the Canon I was holding earlier is the first interchangeable consumer grade DSLR camera that did video. That's what started the whole thing. It's a great camera. Still takes good pictures. Its autofocus is slow though. That's my only gripe with it after over a decade. But yeah, also so like Glazers in Seattle has a good Leica boutique. Okay, Swagman, that's good to know. I mean, not good for your connection, but good that everything's working okay on my end. But yeah, Glazers has a good Leica boutique, and they generally have good used stuff. And you know it's bad when the people at Glazers know your name, even if you haven't been in like a couple of years. They still recognize me because I went in so often when I was interning because I just kept looking at the camera, and then I finally bought it. But yeah, no, I mean I didn't say that. But yeah, how's everybody doing? Oh, I guess I could add a. I saw your camera thing. I could probably. I haven't updated my. Down there, I have like a tools and whatever the hell's thing. I can probably add the streaming setup stuff since now it's decent. The phone worked, I think, for getting started, but this was certainly a good quality boost. And again, I bought all the new stuff used. got a good deal on the camera, so that was nice. And sleepy. Mod Podging the foam bases. Nice. Is it like a display based thing? Or is it like little individual bases? Ooh. Nice. Yeah, I mean the iPhone camera is great. Like, don't get me wrong. But like, physics is still a thing. Bigger sensor, you can capture more light, you get more dynamic range, all that stuff. Like, you get the shallower depth of field with my lens. Like, they can keep adding software to it and such, but physics is still physics. And if you're interested in photography, and on the book topic earlier, there's an old book called The Complete Photographer. I have a really old copy of it that I highly recommend. It's a good book. It does talk a lot about film and stuff, which may or may not be applicable to what you want to shoot. But all the stuff on composition and all that kind of stuff is very useful. Okay, nice. On the individual bases thing. Yeah. It's fun to go fancy on bases. Someone asked me for my Kingdom Death base recipe, and then I listed it all, and they're like, try hard. And I was like, yeah. But bases are fun. I think that's one of the cool part, or trying to figure out the right word. It's like one of the interesting aspects, I think, of the miniature painting as an art form is like creating a scene, right? It's more than just painting, but like making a whole base and creating a story that way. Yeah. Like, it's another way to kind of make your take on a figure unique, giving it an interesting base, which I think is cool. And you don't have to do physics. It's just what's happening. Nice, yeah. There are some really cool bases at Golden Demon. I know a lot of people didn't care for the guy who's won the Slayer sword, but I thought it was. I think the more you looked at that base, the better it was. I think the rocks were just kind of flat. That was my only gripe with it. But like, I like all the plants and little details are like very well placed on that base. But like the one that won the duel, and then the second place for duel, which was Ben Comet's. Both the bases on those are crazy. There's someone on a Discord that I'm on, a couple with named Tevana, I think. she entered a dual piece that had an awesome base. If you listen to the Culture of Paint podcast or watch it, the piece that Andy talks about around 57 minutes in was her piece, and it was very good. Yeah, I know the D&D community is generally very against bases, so the few D&D or Discords I'm in have much different opinions than I do about bases. But that's fine. Different strokes for different folks and all that. So I mean, the thing that a lot of people in the groups that I'm in is like they have their cool terrain, and they don't want the minis base to detract from the cool terrain, so they'll just use like clear bases or just a plain black base or something like that. Where I'm more like I want my mini to be like a story on its own. I don't like my immersion's not broken if the giant's standing on a grass field, but he's in a dungeon. Like I'm perfectly capable of imagining things. The one thing I will say about basing though is it can get very expensive pretty quickly. Just like, well, expensive in terms of like, not like too expensive in terms of cost, but expensive in terms of like stuff. Like just acquire all sorts of stuff to make a variety of bases. Nice, yeah. The Vallejo basing textures are really nice. I like those quite a bit. Going back to AK, they have some nice basing texture stuff. Pro or Monument Hobbies has their 2 texture bases. They're kind of pricey and they're fine. I think the Vallejo stuff is just as good and much more bang for the buck, but I like supporting Monument. It's cool that we have like a US paint manufacturer and hobby manufacturer that makes good stuff. And I want to make sure they stay in business. GW stuff is generally overpriced, except for, I mean, it's still overpriced, but the like Martian iron ore or Grelin earth, the crackle stuff. That stuff is, I've yet to find. I know people keep suggesting things like use crackle medium and put down PVA glue or something first, and like everything I've tried just doesn't work. I know AK has some, and like it sucks. It's like the one AK basing product I've tried that I absolutely hate is their crackle stuff. Like it doesn't look good. I had someone try to convince me that theirs looked good, and I was like, I don't think, compared to the GW stuff, not as good. Yeah, AK's they got paints. They got enamel stuff that we were looking at earlier. They got varnishes. They got the good juice, the ultra matte. Just drink this stuff up. Oh no, I forgot to go to the hobby store. We'll go there sometime this week. I do not want to run out of ultra matte. That would be very sad. Like all sorts of basing stuff. I have a bunch of like laser cut plants from them. It's good stuff. But again, kind of dumb people every now and then in terms of what they do. So. Yep. Yeah. I don't have any primed stuff here. I can pull it up on my phone at least. Well, let me see if this picture actually looks okay on the phone first. Or shows what I want to talk about. Yes. Maybe. Yes. Okay. So I'm going to be a grandpa and show you a picture on my phone instead of just putting it on the computer. So talking about the KDM bases again, these are all my bases all primed up before they were painted. So I use slate, I use the Monument texture pastes, these are some Juwila things, and then stone faces I made from blue stuff, and the stone face base is just pressed into that, and then some milliput. And then some various basing bits, but you can see there's crackle paste down here somewhere. I mean, like right there, sort of, right? So that's just a grill and earth. What you got here? Yeah, so I'll get all my textures on there, which are a wide variety of colors, and then I just prime right over it. And then you can paint it to whatever color you want. Works fine. I haven't had any issues with it. So, yeah. Even there's a Infinity figure on my Instagram a ways back who's got like a Martian base. I used the Grill and Earth on that rather than picking up Martian iron ore. Yeah. Oh, hey, thanks for the subscription. No need to subscribe, but it's much appreciated. But yeah. Yeah, so the KDM comes with got 'em here, I think. Oh, that's my stash. Somewhere in here is stone faces. I think my whole thing is all messed up right now. I don't know why. What is this? Why is this hard to find? Okay, well, I don't know where the stone face basis box is right now, so I'll have to go find that later. But yeah, they have a wide variety of. Yeah, I'll take the Bezos bucks. They have a wide variety. Like they have a stone face base box on their website. It's like $40 or something. You could get it cheaper earlier, but I didn't because I was dumb. There we go. So I just press those into blue stuff and then put a bunch of milliput in there, and then you can kind of crack these up and place them on the base. Because like the bases they come with like is an entire circle of stone face bases, and I don't really like that look. I like it to have like rocks and dirt and some of these popping up. I think that looks cooler. It's more interesting in my opinion. So yeah, Green Stuff World has a they have crackle bases. These little gray ones are the Green Stuff World thing because I got those before I got blue stuff and started doing this myself. They're fine. They're really thick though, which kind of sucks. But blue stuff and milliput is the way to go. it just kind of cracks apart like peanut brittle. Yep, yeah. So I have some golden stuff as well. Those are generally cheaper. The Vallejo stuff is pretty competitive with goldens, but generally it's cheaper than like definitely cheaper than Citadel. Definitely probably cheaper than AK. But like the light molding paste is a cool texture. You can use that for like snow. Something sand is also good for snow. And I don't know what else I have. Like the water texture effects that like AK or Vallejo sells, that's just heavy gloss medium. So you can buy that from your art store. It's the same thing basically. Yeah. So Golden's has a crackle. So the one difference is like Vallejo and AK will sell colored of the texture. I don't think that's, depending on what you're doing, that's probably not super necessary. But yeah, like the heavy gel medium or heavy gel gloss medium, you can use that to kind of represent the same thing. I'll also use gloss Mod Podge, like on my Phoenix base. I use gloss Mod Podge, and I think on the Owl, who's actually out, it's probably dusty. Oh, it's very dusty. But yeah, the texture on there is just gloss Mod Podge sponged on. Probably went a little too heavy with that, but it's okay. It's fine. Yeah, you can just get pastels, which are the same thing as these. I just picked these up because I don't know, they're nice colors, and I did like Secret Weapon before they went out of business. But yeah, you can just get some the pastels and make your own pigments, which is probably what I'll do whenever I run out of those, which will be a while. And also, while you're in the art store, yeah, Secret Weapon miniatures. These guys. Hello. There we go. Hold on. There we go. Now it looks okay. Yeah, they went out of business. Their store is kind of on like whatever they have left. But while you're in the art store, this stuff's great. Love this paint line. Good stuff. It is pricey, because you're getting 60 milliliters of it. So it's like, depending on the pigment, it's like 10 to 15 bucks a pop. Which is, when you compare it to like Vallejo, which is like $3, it's like, sticker shock. But this is 4 times almost those, because these are 17 milliliters. Yeah, Ninjon did a video on them. My only gripe with this line is there's no magenta. All the other golden lines have magenta, but So Flat doesn't, for whatever reason. I think you can still get their paints and some stuff, but like you can't get any of the resin stuff from Secret Weapon, which sucks. Yeah, so Chimera Magenta is great. That's what we're using with the skin right now. The golden high flows, I have a couple of those. I mostly use that for terrain. The high flows are nice because they're good consistency. My general recommendation for people starting out now, though, is Pro Acryl. It also is a little bit like pricier compared to the alternatives, but I think like you can basically just pour this on your palette and it's good to go. And it's like super strongly pigmented, so you get nice coverage, so it's not frustrating. It flows nicely off the brush. But it is also like twice the size of, or it's a little bit bigger. It's 22 mil. So it's like twice the size of a Citadel pot, and I think it's cheaper than a Citadel pot. So when people are like, what paint range should I get? I was like, well, if you have access to Pro Acryl, try those out. If you have an art background, maybe pick up the Chimera base set. Otherwise, I'll recommend Vallejo. Yeah, or AK is also pretty good. I think AK is somewhere between like Vallejo and Pro Acryl. Like they're not as mad as Pro Acryl, but they're not as sad, not as Vallejo. They generally have pretty good coverage in my experience. And they go through the airbrush nicely. So, yeah. I think my only gripe with Pro Acryl is I think their skin tones are interesting, but I think they're still missing a few key ones. So they need a sunny skin tone. I brought it up. I don't know I think Crypt was just talking about Goldens in general. Because so flat's pretty new. But feel free to correct me if I'm off base. Yeah. Nice. Yeah. I if I'm not picking anything else up and I'm by the art store, I'll go grab a pot or something. I'm very much at like storage capacity though. We'll see how many paints come out in that AK Kickstarter, or a Chimera Kickstarter rather. Because they teased that first set, and I'm all in on that first set because they got some delicious colors, and they are signatures, so they should behave like the other signature paints. I don't have to worry about them being different like the expansion set was. Ten more days, yep. Yeah, it is the 10th. Yeah, so Chimera has a Kickstarter coming out in 10 days. You'll be able to buy all their past paints, and they're releasing 3 new sets. One of those sets is Kickstarter exclusive, but all the paints in that set will be available after the fact. So you'll be able to get the paints in it, just in a different way. They said they're either going to be sold as individuals or in different sets after the Kickstarter. Which is, I think that's fine way to do it. But I don't think you'll regret going deep on Golden versus AK. Those Golden paints are really nice. Yeah, and I would go crazy with them if I wasn't invested in so many other paint lines already. So I think the Chimera core set and the 2 signature sets they have out right now are great. Like super pigmented, nice matte finish. Love them. The expansion set that came out recently, which is okay. Well, this one's from the core. I don't know why I grabbed that one. This is from the expansion set. I think the colors are really cool, but I don't know if it's the pigments are like way different or it's the medium. So but they just don't quite flow as nicely as the originals, and like sometimes have issues with coverage. Like they really need to be mixed together and like played around with. Like they're not quite as easy as the other chimeras I played with. So I don't know if I can fully recommend the expansion set, but all their other sets are great. I love the Kartachi set. We're using Kartachi Skin Tone right now, and the Pizarski set is amazing. If you want easy mode NMM, the Pizarski set is it. Yeah. There's not quite a... There's some colors that are close to like Sunny Skin Tone in the Chimera range, but yeah, AK has that. Can I airbrush with what? You can airbrush with anything, really. I was airbrushing with the So Flat lines, if that's what you're asking about, on the last model. Remember? Yeah. I was airbrushing with the Payne's Gray last time because I had a Payne's Gray ink, but it's super glossy, so I wanted a paint. So I picked this up as my first pot of it, and I like it. It's great. Love Payne's Gray. And then I picked this one up last time I was in the art store because, I don't know, I like teal. That's my reason. I'm sticking to it. Yeah, it goes to the airbrush pretty nicely. Just thin it out. Good to go. Yeah, it's nice to have the pigment and the opacity and all that stuff. Chimera is good-ish about it. Like they'll put the pigment on the back. And on the expansion set where they have some transparent pigments, it says transparent on it, so that's nice. But the signature sets don't list the pigments on them. It's only the pure pigments. Mostly because they don't want you to make them on your own, I guess. They keep buying them. That's their shtick. Yeah, the high flows are really glossy. They're nice for terrain. But I don't know. I know some people who paint with them on minis. I wouldn't like them on my minis. Also, sorry for not painting much, but I guess we're chatting for a change. Good to change things up. I've not tried that, so I'll be interested to hear your thoughts. I remember someone mentioned earlier that they used the magic mix in their airbrush. I still have not tried that. I'll have to see if that's any good. I'm always hesitant to like recommend airbrush stuff because I feel like airbrushing is very particular. So I use Magic Mix on my palette, like I use it there and I like it, but I haven't used it in the airbrush itself. Okay. Good to know. Ooh, I don't I think my stupid fat head was in the way, wasn't it? Good job, me. Do these scale artist paints list their pigments on them? I think they do. Yeah, they do. Okay. I do feel like I need to play with my airbrush mixing a little bit more. I'm happy with like how things come out for when I'm glazing generally, but I feel like for like laying down colors or gradients and that kind of stuff, I feel I'm still kind of either I go too weak or too heavy, and I don't get kind of like the smoothness that I see other people get sometimes. So I need to mess around with that a little bit. Let's bust out the little baby brush. Get all the soap out of the little baby brush. Slowly but surely. So it's almost 5. Probably paint for 30-ish more minutes, 30, 40 minutes, something like that. Then I'll go get groceries and all that fun stuff. I guess semi-exciting thing, at least for me. My buddy who came up and visited last week has been setting up like a wood shop, and he also does miniature painting stuff. he is maybe going to start making plinths and such. So I'm hopeful we'll have a good US-based plinth maker. There's a few already, but my main gripe with a lot of them for the US ones is they make their plinths way too big still. Like they're just very, very chonky, and like much too big for busts that I normally paint, or bust sizes that I normally paint. If you intended for your mini to be in a bright environment, would your process still start with a paint as dark and vibrant as magenta? That is a good question. I don't know. I know some people like to work light down. I really like to work dark light, so I think I probably would. I may, if I know like there's not going to be any super dark shadows in it, I may like. Helen did, yeah. Helen was kind of me starting off with like the idea of using the zenithal to put where my paints are, very similar to Yulva. For context, if you don't remember all the names of these weird miniatures, here's Yulva. Zoom out a little bit. She's also very dusty. Oh, great. I got. Now she's shiny. Thanks, Thousand. Yeah, it's coming along. But yeah, using the zenithal to kind of, or the like an airbrush pre-shading to kind of guide where I want my shadows and highlights. So put the darker colors in the birds dark and light where it's light. So I did that with Helene as well. But yeah, I think Helene, I can't remember how I painted Helene. I'm pretty sure I still use magenta and such. I don't know, I like magenta. It's a good color. And so like one of the reasons why I like to use it on skin tones is it helps add a lot of life to it, especially when you do like the glazes over it. Because again, acrylic's transparent for the most part. Thanks, yeah. I think Colin was like looking through my pieces. I think the chef is fine. I don't like the skin on him. Like I was using mostly these Pro Crust skins, which are good, but they don't quite have as much life. I definitely needed something in there to give him a kick. The dwarf was decent, but I think Colin was definitely a like changing point. And I think also like the KDM stuff, like blitzing through that core box. There's some minis in there that I was really happy with. I like the Kingsman and the hand both turned out nicely. But yeah, I've been so a quote that I like a lot that I heard from Jay Bell, who was the second baseman for the Diamondbacks in the early 2000s, because his son was on my Little League team, so he did some coaching for us, which was very cool because he was my favorite baseball player. But he always said, practice doesn't make perfect. Perfect practice makes perfect. So what that means is like if you just try the same thing over and over again and you're doing it sloppily, or you're not doing it in like a directed manner, great, you practice doing something sloppily and not like the way you should do it, right? Like in the context of baseball, it's like, okay, if you practice throwing but you have crap form and you do it for hours and hours, great, you can throw a ball crappily, or you can hit a ball crappily, all that stuff, right? I think in the context of painting or art, I think it's like a couple of things. One is always push yourself to try things in a new way. Like it's very easy to be like, well, I conquered skin tones because I painted it nicely this one time. I'm going to do it the exact same way every single time. Like it's easy to kind of fall into that, right? Because like, why try something new when you can paint it all this way? But it's important to kind of push yourself, try things in new ways, just always be experimenting to like help keep improving your understanding of color, contrast, composition, all that stuff. So that's generally my mindset when I paint. I want to keep getting better. I enjoy the process of like improving. And like I have those Marvel chivis whenever I want to, or bone stuff whenever I want to just kind of do something without thinking about it. But yeah, so just keep on trying to get better. Yeah. I am thinking blonde hair. I mean, she is an elf archer after all. They're all blonde, right? Right. Invisible glass. Okay. I'll check that out. I just use very diluted simple green, which I don't know if is good for your airbrush or not, but mine are still working, so. Yep, I thought I heard something, but. I got a ping. Oh, they went to Coffee Holic. Those turds. If you're in the Seattle area and you want very sugary coffee, Vietnamese style coffee, there's a place called Coffee Holic. They have a couple locations. It's very good. Their pastries are fine, but the coffee's really good. Vietnamese style coffee is like condensed milk in coffee. And they have a couple different flavors that are very tasty. Good stuff. Probably not for you. Definitely not for you. But that's fine. Getting there. Oops. It's not really what I wanted there, but that's okay. It's fine. Everything's fine. I don't remember if it was Goobertown or someone else, but like in a similar train of thought to what we were talking about just a second ago, like the paint bravely thing, I think is a good mindset to have. Just try shit. It's just paint. It is very hard to like ruin a model with paint, right? Like, even if you just kind of, alright, have fun. Have fun at the Waffle House. Yeah, like it's really hard to ruin a model with paint. Like, very rarely do you get to a point where you're like, oh, I have to strip this. Especially like once you learn like how to thin your paints and such. And like, not just like, I guess, keep continuing the thought that I keep dropping and then going back, but like, in terms of like trying new things, it's not just like new recipes or whatever, but like change up how you go about painting. So I was before very much like, okay, I have my primer layer. Right? See 1,000. Thanks for hanging out and chatting. Yeah, it's what I'm imagining. It's like way past midnight based on the last time I raided you, right? Yeah, go get some sleep. But thanks for hanging out. Hope to see the kaiju all finished up soon. Yeah, like changing up how you actually paint. So like look at how other painters paint and like try that out. Because I used to like be very much like dark to light, and I'm really kind of enjoying this like using the zenithal and like we didn't really do like too crazy of an undercoat this time. I tried something, it ended up very desaturated. Maybe you should have tried something crazy, but like using different kind of undershade paintings to change how things look. So like just always be experimenting, because like you may think like, oh, I enjoy the way I paint, but try something new and be like, hey, this works a lot better for me. You won't know until you try, which is why it is important to like learn all the different brush techniques. Like try out just layering, try out glazes, try out blend loaded brush, or the tube brush, or the spit blending, or whatever the hell Ninjan was talking about a while ago. Maybe don't try that one. Like try out all those techniques and then figure out which ones you like for yourself. Like my process is mostly layering and glazes, right? Because that's how I enjoy to paint. I'll occasionally do wet blends and such, especially on bases, just because it's quick and easy. But I find that I don't have the same kind of control with that as I do, which is why I'll do it on less important things usually. But like loaded brush and stuff like that, I tried it, hate it, never want to do it again. Hello, Diana. How are you? Oops, focus please. Oh, because I shifted. Here we go. I don't know. How's your life? How's, I don't know, the end of your time in the East Coasts? Because it's coming to an end soon, isn't it? Heading over to the West Coast, Best Coast. Oh yeah. Yeah. Do you have like a bucket list for New York? Like last things you want to do before you, I won't say leave forever because I would imagine you would go back, but stop living there for the time being. Because we had some friends move out to the East Coast and they had like a bucket list for things to do in Seattle before they left. The last thing they chose to do with us was go to a restaurant that we told them wasn't great. It was like a brunch place. It's fine. It's just overpriced, and it's one of those places that has like way too many things on the menu, and you're like, A video of the Space Needle. No. No, that's people Anna and I know. They moved out to Baston, but like the last thing we went to was a brunch place in Lower Queen Anne or whatever. I forget the name of it because I just kind of block it from my memory because it's just kind of eh. They have like beignets and such, and it's fine, but it's much better breakfast places in Seattle. No, not Bob and Tanya. They're on the East Coast right now because they're dealing with some stuff, which I will not get into because it's their stuff. But they still live out here. Oh yeah, no. That was just them visiting because I think Tanya went to school out there or something. She's a smart cookie. So I think she was just visiting friends and Bob tagged along. Okay, getting there. I think one thing I always screw up with foreheads is the light should really kind of be consistent across all of it. And I always like concentrate it on one area and then it shades off too quickly. So let's try to fix that. Yeah, it's really hard to buy cameras right now. All the Sonys and such are backordered. I'm liking it. I just have to remember the zone focus is in the center, so if I'm off to the side, I'll sometimes not do what I want it to do. Yeah, it's working nice. It's much easier to get set up. All I do is plug in the lens because I don't want to leave that hanging there all the time. Turn it on, I'm good to go. The computer's working great. I can do stuff. It seems like there's no drop frames, no lag. It's great. It was worth it. Yeah. The one thing is like, so I bought the knockoff lens converter, and that's working pretty well. It was like a tenth of the price of the real one. So glad that it works. Yeah. Don't know why I put that dark of a color back in, but let's get that like that. This should probably have a highlight. I think one potential upgrade I may make to the setup is put like a tripod ball head here, maybe. See if I can find a lightweight one that can still support everything. That way it's a little easier to adjust than what I have now if I need to move things around. But ideally I shouldn't need to move things around that often. Oops, things are shaking. Also checked out your YouTube videos, Deanna. They're fun. It wasn't too busy when we went there, but they are they're actually taking this week off. They're giving their whole staff like a spring vacation. But it wasn't like there were some empty tables. Like it looked like you could have maybe walked in and sat down. I would still suggest getting a reservation if you can, but sounds like, but like worst case, you go there, it's full. You walk 2 doors down to their sister bar, Hanateo, I think that's what it's called. And you get some tasty bar food and some sake, and you have a good time. That's where I got I don't know if you saw the picture, but the okonomiyaki hot dog, A+. Oh, well, it was a hot dog that had like cabbage and onions and okonomiyaki sauce and Kewpie mayo on it. It was very good. Oh, he's awake. The sleeping prince. Do you know what neighborhood are you in, or do you not want to dox yourself? If you don't want to dox yourself, that's fine. I would assume it's nearish downtown if you have a view of the Space Needle. Well, actually, no, because you could have a view from the Space Needle from like Bainbridge, so I don't know where the hell you're gonna live. Something happened. Coruscant Sunset! Thank you for the follow. Oh, nice, okay. Cool. I think that's Coruscant. I'm gonna pretend it's Coruscant. Speaking of Coruscant, I keep seeing clips from the new Star Wars Lego game, the Skywalker Saga Lego game. Those games are more funny than they have any right to be. Nice. Let's spend a little bit more time on the feats. Looks like we forgot part, so let's... I guess backtracking a little bit to like the would you still use magenta and stuff, like I mentioned that I like it because it has a lot of vibrancy to stuff on top. Awesome. Welcome to the channel, Coruscant. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. If you're working on anything cool, feel free to share. If you just want to lurk and chill, that is also a-okay. Yeah, on the topic of like using magenta under the skin tones and stuff like that, or some vibrant color. I guess there's two directions I can go with this. Obviously, if they're in like a setting where the skin would be as vibrant, don't use that. Use something else on the show. But the main thing I was going to say on that was backtracking to another topic, which was like learning resources. And the Patreon I mentioned, Craftworld Studio, they kind of get into the primary learning from their Patreon is like using colors underneath others to influence the colors on top. I think a really easy example of this that everyone runs into when they're painting is if you're trying to paint yellow, right? If you try to paint yellow over black, you're going to have a bad time. I'll talk about coffee in a second. But like if you get white under there first, your yellow will be a lot easier to put on and look more vibrant right away, right? Or better yet, if you get like a magenta or a pink under there, you'll have a super poppy yellow, or orange if you want to paint orange. Fellow grinder's cool. I like it. I had a little hand grinder before that would take me forever to use, and I couldn't do other things while I was grinding it, so that was kind of annoying. It was nice for a while, but after a year of that, it got annoying. So I asked for an automatic grinder. So I got the bougie fellow grinder as a gift. I didn't really have anything else to ask for, but it works well. It looks nice with all the other fellow stuff. Just can't really complain too much. Is it worth the cost? I don't know. There's probably other grinders that work just as good for much less. But it certainly is nice to look at. Oops. You can see skin there. Well, we didn't airbrush yet, so that's good. So we'll get to that in a second. But hey, we're finding things that we should paint before points of quote unquote no returns. So that's nice. Well, I mean, like, why get a whole espresso machine if you're just gonna leave? I don't know how much I mean, my knowledge of espresso machines is that they're expensive, right? Yeah, it's a bougie, silly grinder. My one complaint with it is you have to like really kind of tap it to get all the grinds out, otherwise it'll just kind of spill all over your counter. It's kind of annoying, but yeah. I got my stumped in beans. Make myself a little cup of pour over in the morning. It's nice little ritual. Oh, okay, well I guess that makes sense. You do you. Chase your bliss. Maybe try to find a used one or something? That might be an option. Yeah. Like, I think the hand stuff is generally like the way to go, probably, for grinding up beans, right? Like, it's probably the best result for the money, especially. It just takes a while. It can take a while sometimes. The real like stickler for me was like my little hand grinder was like for a cup of coffee's worth of beans. So if I needed to do two, I'd have to do one load, and then I had to unload it, put it in the pour over thing, and then do another load. It's like, yes, I know, first world problems. I do not recommend people buy a Bushi coffee grinder unless it makes you happy. Okay, I think the fellow can do espresso. Do you want me to check real quickly, or do you know if it does already? Yeah, I got into coffee drinking like 2 years ago at this point or something. I don't know, I didn't even care about coffee too much before then. And then, I don't know, then I did. I think just from living in Seattle for a while. Yeah. When I make it at home, I just have black coffee, unless it's a holiday. Then I put Bailey's in it. When I go out, I'll get mochas or lattes or what have you. Fan of these abs just yet, or her stomach. Yeah, I remember there being some really interesting YouTube videos about like coffee in Japan. But like, I think that's like a big part of like Japanese culture is like when they like really get into something, they like really get into it. So like coffee's a big thing there. Like audiophiles go like above and beyond in Japan. I remember there was like some guy who had like a separate uh, like electrical system installed just for his record player and such. It's wild. Yeah, so that's definitely an issue I have a lot, or I've been trying to get over, is like analysis paralysis. Like I will research something to the death to the point where it's like I'm not having a good time anymore trying to research it, right? Like that happens to me quite a bit. And with like the last 2 years where like there's enough stress from other things, I've very much tried to embrace the, I guess, YOLO nature. Like I used to be incredibly frugal with my spending. Like make sure like everything I spent was worth it. And I guess I'll fall into that a lot, like overanalyzing things to make sure like, okay, do I really need X? I realize oftentimes it's quote unquote cheaper for me to just buy a thing. That way I'm not wasting any more time like trying to figure out, is this the right thing? Which I know is a very privileged kind of thing to do or say, right? Like that's not something everyone has the ability to do, which sucks, but yeah. Exactly, yeah. Like if you're just constantly researching the thing, then you're not like enjoying one of them. It's like a recent thing was like trying to figure out what camera to get, right? Like there's a bajillion options, and like at the end of the day you realize, well, they all are fine. Just get one that is not too expensive and like, yeah, at least from a high level looks like it fits your needs. Oops. Yeah, because everyone's trying to be a vlogger or something like that. And also probably chip shortages is actually the real explanation, which I'm not gonna get better anytime soon, probably. Life is short. You can't take everything with you when you die, so try to enjoy it as best as you can. But also start saving for retirement early if you plan on retiring. Okay, air compressor still on. Okay. This might be a little too thin, so let's get a little bit more kinks in there. Like that mentality of just like stop debating over it and just get the thing. You can evidently see in my pile of opportunity. I've been a lot better this year about not buying so many movies. Oops. I flooded it a little bit. Let's make sure it's dry. All right, Sammy. Thanks for hanging out. Have fun making dinner. Hope it's tasty. I just realized it's 5:30. So I'll once I'm done airbrushing here, I'm gonna log off as well so I can go get food. You take the best boy out. Yeah, we'll all be on the West Coast, Best Coast. Someone else said something. My last thing in cameras, I'm considering getting the 13 Pro. Oh, the iPhone. I mean, it's probably a good camera. I think we were talking about that earlier because I used to use my 12 for the stream. The Pro probably would have been nicer because it has the telephoto. Yeah, I mean, my apparently the Mini doesn't sell well, and I'm worried they're gonna stop making them when next time I want to upgrade in 3-4 years. I try to keep my phone for as long as possible. My last two phones I have kept until they literally stopped working. One like died the day I got the new one in the mail because it was on. I could tell it was on its last legs, and the home button just stopped working like the day before the new one arrived. And I was like, well, good timing. And then the other one I dropped in some water and it died. So that was sad. But I had it for like 5 years, 4 years, something like that. Yeah, I try to keep all my technology for as long as it still works. Like my big camera that we were looking at earlier that I've had for over a decade. Yeah, I mean, I do whatever I want with them. I don't use a case or anything. So that's why they get all scuffed up. But good stuff. Good stuff. Okay. Let's pop this off for a second. Whoop. Kai Wong, who used to be on like Digital Rev a long time ago for YouTube channel camera stuff, but he has his own YouTube channel now. He just recently did a video on the best camera you can buy for $300 or $200, which is the 5G Mark II if you buy it used. For stills, at least. And he like drops it partway through the video and he's like, that still works because it's built like a tank. Oh yeah, I mean it's still a great camera. My only gripe with it, like for video, it's not as full function as new cameras. Like there's not many frame rate options and it only goes up to 1080p, and it overheats after 15 minutes, I think, which is why I couldn't use it for streaming. That would be not great. Sorry, went into airbrush. Like, and the autofocus is a little slow. But for the stuff I normally use it for, that's fine. But yeah, let's clean out the airbrush. I don't want to airbrush this color anymore. I think we'll probably stop there. I don't want to get into skin finagling just yet. Yeah. Also, I hadn't looked at, so getting this camera, I was looking at like Canon lenses again because I haven't looked at them in 8+ years, because I basically got my setup and was like, this is good. Don't need to think about it ever again. I think I upgraded like one lens, I've made like 2 lens upgrades and like over the course of me having my Canon DSLR stuff, from like I upgraded my telephoto and I upgraded my 50. I grabbed a paper towel. I don't need a paper towel, so we'll just put this back. I need a towel. Sounds like. Here's our girl. Getting there. So some things to talk about in terms of what to do. We just did the airbrushing on the purple. We need to go in and like push some highlights back up and such, and some shadows. Same thing for the skin. I can tell that this leg I want to tweak a bit more. Her chest I want to tweak a bit more. Face I want to add some color in, and especially on like the shadows of the cheeks, I want to push those a bit more. But overall, happy with how things are going. I'm also kind of like digging this white hair look, since we haven't painted that yet. I know I just painted white hair on the dwarf miner, but it might be kind of cool to do white hair on her. I feel like we should do it. We can maybe change it up. I'll think about it. Blonde or white is what we'll go with. And we still have the leather corset thing, which we'll probably do in like a reddish brown. And her bow and her everything else. So cool. Got a decentish amount done today. It was a little bit slower because we talked a lot for a change. Let's put some paints away. I may stream tomorrow. It's gonna definitely be a do I feel like it kind of thing. Whether I want to work on her or I want to work on some basing stuff or maybe a Marvel figure off stream. I'll leave those. No, I'll put everything away. But yeah. Outside of that, or maybe even if I decide to work on basing stuff, maybe we could stream some of that. But okay, fine. Maybe I'll do it. Almost done putting paints away. I took out a lot of paints today. I also should organize my Kimirs so that they're in a sensible order, but I'll do that later. Okay. We did it, everybody. Whoop, nope, I lied. We did it, everybody. So again, here's Artemis so far. I'm decently happy with the purple-green combo. It doesn't feel too garish, and I think especially when we push the purple highlights up a bit more, it'll be better. And once we, I think before I tweak too much, I'm gonna get the leather part in because that's like one of the last huge big things on the piece. But yeah, let's go find someone to raid. Thank you. You were talking about that a little earlier. Just keep trying to push and get better. Try to be mindful about how I'm painting and all that stuff. I do not have access to my quick actions for some reason. Let's refresh this. Okay. Raid. We've raided those guys before recently, so let's go check out who is on. Oh, here's the doorways thing. Okay, I'll look at that. Twitch. Okay. Browse. Miniature figures. So Monster Den's going. Gen Con TV, Honor Gotchery is playing. And oh, Crip's not here. Or he is lurking. Oh, just in time. Oh no. Banned. Okay. Here we got a few people. This guy's assembling miniatures. Anybody painting? Blueberry Hollow. Let's check that out. Let me make sure I'm not piping audio into the stream. Yeah, cool. There's also, oh, that's me. I was like, who's that? It looks like my setup. Anyways, raffle and giveaway. Can I get rid of this thing? Okay. They're painting wreaths. Okay. No problem, Diana. Sorry it's taking forever to find someone to raid. Oh, this one's only 720p. Am I gonna give up? Or am I gonna just pick someone at random? I think I'm just gonna give up. I'm hungry. I'm gonna go get food. Oh, let me see how this looks after the ad plays. Oh god, it's like 30 seconds of ads. just gonna log off. Sorry for no raid. You guys can go find something. Or just go enjoy the rest of your Sunday evening without watching Twitch. But yeah, thank you all for hanging out, chatting. Thank you to the new follows and the subscriptions again. Yeah, so if I don't stream tomorrow, I'll stream on Friday, as per usual. But yeah, see you guys. Have a nice week.